beggars die, there are no comets seen.
All right, happy Monday. Let's get into it. This is a blog you're going to be able to relate to. I think you relate to everything I write. We're weightlifters. We're connected as one athlete side of things, coach side of things. So all of this old writing that I used to do, I feel like you can relate to all of it. I got fired from multiple different forums back in the day. Go Heavy, I got fired from. There was a blog called, or not a blog, but a forum, a thread, kind of like a Go Heavy, or what's the big one now? Not T-Nation. I don't know if T-Nation's still around. Got fired from that. GoDaddy. No, it wasn't GoDaddy. GoDog? Man, a long time ago. What's the forum that's really Reddit? Liv? Okay, sorry, I got the whole family here. Reddit.com. So kind of like a Reddit. I don't know if T-Nation's still around. Oh, I got fired from bodybuilding.com. And so all of these old blogs I used to write, I used to get fired from it because they were just too dark, too twisted, too weird. And they kept getting mad at me saying, we're looking for like weightlifting articles. And, to me, they were all weightlifting because it was all how I felt. It was becoming a man, finding myself through the barbell, my commitment to the sport, the discipline that it took, battling my past skeletons and finding myself and leaving drugs and moving forward and so many other things. So I feel like all of my articles were weightlifting, but they just didn't see it. So they ended up just firing me. And that's when Coach Penley came in and said, why don't you just start your own blog and just write for you, write for the people that follow you, and, do your own thing. And so I said, okay. And then I started, and all of these blogs I've been reading are from that point on. I didn't save any of the old ones because when they fired me, they deleted all my articles. So I don't have any of them, but they used to be super twisted. I used to talk about, a lot of my kids are in the house here listening. So I got to be a little careful what I say, but a lot of past stuff. And I would basically tell a lot of stories, like made up stories in my head about like some weightlifter guy that I would just make up and just create this crazy scenario. And they just didn't like that. So, but this one here, C4, you're going to be able to relate to this. And look, this is a big part of our life. Energy drinks, coffee, caffeine, the fuel that we use to attack the bar, to attack training, to attack life. I think we can all admit we're pretty much addicted. And, fine. Are they crazy healthy? Probably not. But I've been addicted to a lot of things in my life, and I'll go ahead and take energy drinks any day of the week. It's kind of part of the lifestyle, if you will. So instead of being in a bar and getting drunk and drinking alcohol, give me an ice cold C4 in the morning and give me an ice cold C4 before training, and I'm one happy camper. So let's get into it here. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to walk you through my C4 journey this morning while I type to you in Starbucks. Okay, so let's go on this journey together. Better yet, please join me. Let's fly together. Let's dream together and conquer together. Let's become brothers in a world of war together. Let's drink the dancing water in a room of dark as we get high, doing what we love. Shh. I can hear society outside these boarded walls. Lower your candle, young lad. We must never let them find us. So this is interesting here. Again, I don't pre-read these before we go live, but we're drinking energy drinks together. We're flying high. We're dreaming together. You sit there and you have an ice cold C4 before you start training. You're thinking to yourself, what can I do today in training? What can I do over the next 2 months? What can I do over the next year? What are my goals? Can I reach my goals? I feel like I can. You feel real confident before training, especially when you're chugging a C4. And it makes you just hit that gym hard and get after it. Now, I'm not saying you have to have an energy drink to train hard, but, it helps. Most of the time back in the day, we just used to chug coffee. We had some caffeine pills that were given to us from time to time that really got us going. But they were real strong in caffeine. And Spitz and Penlay were always worried about USADA showing up. Now, if you're probably asking, like, what are you talking about, John? What do you mean USADA showing up? We got to remember that we had to control our caffeine, because if USADA tests you and you have too much caffeine in your system, you get popped. It's crazy. And so we always had to limit the caffeine a little bit. There was one day where we were popping caffeine pills. We were just going crazy. We were just going nuts, just training, lifting, just shirts off, yelling Schenkel, just punching holes in the wall. I mean, we just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of just training. And USADA showed up. And USADA would show up all the time. all the time. I would come home and they'd be in my driveway. Okay? I'd go to the grocery store and they'd be in the parking lot. Okay? You think I'm kidding? They'd be at the gym all the time. I mean, I've been tested by USADA well over 100 times. Well over. And, boy, Donnie got tested more than anybody. And so I remember Glenn being a little nervous. Like, man, these guys are hopped up on caffeine. Like, I hope this doesn't come back on a caffeine pop or something. And I don't know the full legal limit on there with USADA, but we were fine, of course. Nobody at Cal Strength ever got popped. Because we're, of course, all clean. Same with Muscle Driver and any team I've been on. So that was kind of a scary time, but you got to be careful. The caffeine pills can be a little scary, but there's nothing, good old iced Trenta coffee and an ice cold energy drink. You're fine. But it's definitely a lifestyle, man. Take your shirt off, chug an energy drink, slam bars, get after it, max the F out, just go crazy. That's what I'm telling you. That's what this sport's missing, man. I mean, shoot, Dylan Cooper, he's traveling the world. Basically, that's his big message. I know he's interviews and trains with some people that I completely disagree with on their approach. And that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion. My opinion is go crazy. Snatch, clean and jerk, squat, have fun, slam bars, drink energy drinks, let your emotions fly, be yourself. Don't worry about what people think about you. And I just wish there was more of that in weightlifting. I really do. Things have changed so much. Everything's so uptight these days. Let's get back to it. Oh, but I love society here. This last line. It says, shh. I can hear society outside these boarded walls. Lower your candle, young lad. We must never let them find us. Man, it was just always back in the day. It was always just like we were these gym rats hidden from society. We were Annie and the crew. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a. I should know the lyrics there, but we felt like orphans. There we go. Sorry, I messed that up. We were these gym rat orphans. These street kids, street weightlifters that all of weightlifting hated. We never went to the OTC, and we were doing this crazy weird new program that Glenn Penlay and Dave Spitz had us on, the Bulgarian method in America, clean athletes. I mean, there was a ton of Johnny Cash vibes about us, and we had no lives. We couldn't go home for Christmas. We didn't go on vacations. There wasn't like, oh, I got to take a week off to go to a wedding. Like that didn't exist. We just trained all day, every day. And so you did kind of feel like this, one of my new favorite shows is, which is basically like a long movie is, what's that chess movie? Queen's Gambit. You kind of felt like that, but let's continue. Take the bars and squat racks to the back. Shelter the plates and find some homes for the clips. We all know those clips have a mind of their own. They were born bastards in a sport that uses them and that that uses them in training as much as peanut butter on pancakes. Gosh, that's funny. What? No, I eat peanut butter with my pancakes all the time now, so this doesn't really hit as hard, but I was making a point. Look, they were born bastards. I'm talking about weightlifting clips. Weightlifters just don't use clips. That's a funny line. Shelter the plates and find home for the clips. We all know those clips have a mind of their own. They were born bastards in a sport that uses them in training as much as peanut butter on pancakes. Boy, what a line that is. That's true. Why don't we ever use clips in weightlifting? I have zero idea. Let's continue. Bring the dancing water to the table. Now, before we start, let me stop this blog for a minute to give you time to grab your C4 and watch the magical dust fall from the sky and then twirl in your water, turning your cup from clear to the color of your flavor. I choose strawberry. So let there be blood. Let the sky turn from light morning blue to the dark red that flows through my veins. Okay? Have you poured? Good. Now raise your cup, glass, water bottle, old coffee mug, skull of a lion. Cheers. Cheers to the day, to our loved ones, and the ones who protected us from harm. Cheers to the iron sport we call life that separates us from them, the weak from the strong, the sheep from the wolves, better yet, as we call them here in the Dark Orchestra, the ones with soft hands. Oh man, what a first paragraph. The ones with soft hands. Weak weightlifters, soft weightlifters, weightlifters that don't train hard, weightlifters that are not pushing themselves to their full limit. There's nothing worse than a weightlifter that leaves kilos on the table, that stops training early, that says, I'm good, I'll train more tomorrow. Brother, you got to train hard like it's your last day on earth. You got to act like every training session's your last. Soft-handed weightlifters are the worst. And guess what? I hate to say it, but they're taking over the sport, and they already have. There's so many softies out there. I can name 100 of them. I can name so many softies that even I've had as athletes, as young men, that have just quit and bounce 10 teams and point fingers and make excuses, and they just don't want to put the hard work in, and then they just turn into dust and vanish. You never see them on a podium, of course. You never see them with the Team USA singlet on. Why? Whose fault is it? Definitely not theirs. It's everybody else's. These are soft-handed weightlifters. Or these weightlifters that I'm mentioning now, there's a different chapter. It's the lifters that are just starting out, that are grinding, that are kind of in the beginning phases of weightlifting. And they get stuck there forever because they get content. They get soft. They have people in their corner and coaches and teammates, and they read these articles online about how you should train 3 to 4 days a week and train an hour per session and mix, do snatch and clean and jerk on different days and high pulls off blocks, and the intensity should be lower and you shouldn't max out, and max out Friday's stupid, and all of this kind of stuff, right? That creates a bunch of soft men. And we have a bunch of soft men. And what soft men, the definition of that is not pushing yourself to your true potential. I want you to walk away from every single session going, man, I gave that my all. I'm beat down. I'm tired. I am just gassed. That was super, super tough. If you're walking away from the gym like that makes me happy. And as your coach or somebody who you maybe listen to for some weightlifting push and advice, if you're listening to this podcast here, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's how I want you to feel. I mean, in the commercial gym life with like bodybuilding and fitness type stuff, nobody's training hard. I mean, nobody. We all have the gallon water bottles. Everyone's just staring at their phone. Nobody's even sweating. There's some times we're in a commercial gym, and I've been in a commercial gym for the past few months. I actually want to make a bunch of posts, but I promised myself and my wife I wouldn't make any because I have a surprise coming up. But there's times in a commercial gym where I just want to stand on top of a squat rack, look out into the sea of people, and just go, what the fuck are y'all doing here? What are you doing? Just go home. You're wasting time. Oh, geez, John, that's really mean. They're bettering their life. They're in the gym. They're not out drinking. They're not out doing drugs. They're getting their heart rate up. They're burning calories. You're being a little mean. Well, maybe I am. But I mean it to be motivating. Like, buck up and let's train. You know, and the sad part is that most of these cats, they don't know better. And I'm not talking to your just normal gym goer, your 40 mid, just woman that's older lady that's in there to get fit and live longer and be healthier. Like, I'm not gut checking these type of people. I'm talking about the kind of young bucks that think they're tough, that have the cutoff shirts and the water bottles and the chucks, and they're working out with no shoes on, and they're spending more time talking about technique than they are training. And these are the type of people I'm talking to. I just want to say, what are you guys doing? Just shut up and train. And this goes for most weightlifters. Just shut up. Stop talking. Stop going into the program and let's train hard. But, let's continue. Second paragraph. First gulp down as I crack these little black keys. I close my eyes and I wait for the rush of joy and the taste of all my insecurities leaving my body like blood from a cut. Look at that. All my insecurity. You're just starting to get rid of it. Drain your body of fear. Drain your body of insecurity. So that after that energy drink and you start to warm up and break a sweat and the heart rate goes, you're listening to maybe some music. You got some Meek Mill bumping in the background. You grab the bar, you start doing your warm-ups. Man, there's no better feeling than that, because right there you feel great. You might be maybe a little sore from the session before, but you feel great. The lactic acid's getting broken up. You're like, all right, let's go. Because then there's the question mark. What can I do today? Maybe a new PR. Maybe I hit something big. Maybe I'm, that technique I've been working on just clicks. Question mark. Who knows? This is why it's important to make the program your minimum, because every day in training, you should have a question mark next to you. What can I do? If you have limits on yourself, I say you need to gut check that, change that. I close my eyes and I wait. I'm sorry. Let's continue. Second sentence here. The cracks of my skin slither like small snakes, running rivers of fresh water amongst my body, washing away the day before, giving me a new fresh look on this life we walk upon each day. Man, look at that. You're just getting ready, babe. Weightlifting is so mental. That mental focus, that mental vibe that you get in, that zone will affect your fit body physically. It's all mental. This is why the guys that I used to go up against in the past were always just much stronger than me. Coach Penley would just work me to get my jerk right. Work me to get my legs up, to get my squats up, doing everything in his power to build his racehorse, to build his Formula One car, to beat these strong men. But I tell you what, one thing I had, and I did have genetics, but one thing I had that helped me beat these men was I had the crazy mindset of thinking I was better than I was, thinking I was stronger than I was, tricking my mind to create the monster that so many people hate. They act like, oh, John shouldn't be that way. I had to be that way. The mind is what forced my body to change into something I wasn't. And this is why I was able to go out there and crush my competitors, because I was mentally effed up. I was crazy. And the crazy weightlifter is a dangerous weightlifter. We talk about James Mosier. Donnie Schenkel? You don't know crazy. And I mean that in a good way. You do not know crazy. Okay? You ever seen Phil Sabatini lift weights? Crazy. You ever seen Travis Cooper lift weights? Crazy. You ever seen Wes Kitts lift weights? I mean, the guy is like The Shining. He's Jack Nicholson in The Shining. He's crazy. By the way, shout out to Wes. I was on the phone with him the other day. Love my brother. I say this as a compliment, but he's crazy. He's pacing on stage. He's smiling. He's talking to himself. He's laughing. Like, what's going on here? I mean, he's at the bar in The Shining talking to the bartender that's not there. I mean, he's lost his mind because he's so in the zone. He's so mentally on point that it affects his body to react in amazing ways. And this is what I want you to work on as well. Let's keep going. My skin itches with pleasure. So if you know anything about C4, you know you're going to get the itchy face. Your whole entire face is going to itch. Your body's going to itch, and it feels amazing. So much that water drips from your eyes as the goosebumps from my cracked skin raises like the wave on top of a gold medal podium. The itch starting from my cheeks, crawling up to my eyes, seeping into my skull, and then like a waterfall down my whole body as if I was born new. My fingers type faster as my mind becomes sharper. The world around me spins slower as my concentration becomes better. The pain in my knees start to seep away like a high tree in a moving fog. My back grows spikes to keep me safe from the backstabbers that lurk during the day. Let me read that again. That's wild. My back grows spikes to keep me safe from the backstabbers that lurk during the day and the two-faced monsters who hide at night. That freaking man. That's a freaking line right there. This is a crazy blog. This is wild. I mean, I wrote this like 12 years ago. This was that's a crazy line right there. Because they're backstabbers everywhere, man, and they'll smile right to your face. I've been in the game close to 21 years now, 2 decades plus. I've seen everything. You know, I've had a lot of people smile at my face and talk shit behind my back. There's a ton of people out there that hate me, and I don't know why, just because of the antics and the way I lift. But you know what? I have my squad. I got the best team in the world, Attitude Nation, Red Circle Mafia. I got my beautiful family. I'm the most blessed man alive. I'm a professional weightlifting coach. I do what I love professionally full time. I achieve what I have achieved. I have friends and people in my life that are close to me in this sport. And, you know, most importantly, I have the good Lord. So at the end of the day, 21 years later, here we are. They tried to kill me. They tried to beat me down. They probably were in full celebration mode when I was dead for 16 minutes at the zoo. And they were probably pissed when I came back to life. They've tried to talk smack on internet. They tried to talk smack on YouTube. They've tried to take the Attitude Nation down for 2 decades. But as people come and go in this sport, here we are. Weightlifting Talk is still here, the podcast, oldest podcast in the game. And I don't say this to brag or toot my own horn. I'm saying this because just like in the sport of weightlifting as an athlete, we have to be disciplined and we have to have grit and heart and drive to keep going, fighting the good fight every single day, not only as an athlete, but as a coach, as a team owner, as a husband and father off the platform. We must stand up to our values and keep pushing. Every day's a battle. Give me the sword and let's fight. And it's that mentality that made me a champion in weightlifting, a champion as a coach, and a champion as a husband and father. And these blogs and these crazy stories and the way I approach life, to some might be crazy and extreme, but guess what? It's worked for me. Has it been perfect? Have I made mistakes? Do I have regrets? Is life easy? All of that, no. I'm not perfect. But the point is that I want everybody out there to find their path and fight the good fight. Okay? Be yourself in this sport and don't let anybody take you down, because they've been trying to take me down since day one. I pay a lot of rent to a lot of people's minds. It's a scary thing. Not as much as it used to be. I know my star has kind of fizzled out over the years, of course. You know, I'm an old, washed-up racehorse. But I still pay a lot per month in people's minds. And it's crazy to think. Let's keep going. My senses grow consistent as a spider, giving me the powder to separate the closet haters to the ones who truly have my best interest. My foot now taps to the violin song I will post above. I write to its rhythm. The beat moves me as the C4 runs through me. I am strong when I am confident. Sadly, I need dancing water to keep this instrument tuned and sound. For without it, I am not as sound. I am weak and less bound. The room now completely dark. A great time for us to take another gulp. Better yet, this time, let's take a giant chug. Brady, go lay down. Go lay down. Love you. Thank you. My dog is just panting so loud. He was outside with my daughter running, and he's getting me out of my mindset. Okay, that's better. I don't know if you could hear him in the back row, but the loudest panting I've ever heard in my life. Let's keep going. We're almost done. 2 paragraphs left. Belly of warmth as bones grow bigger and muscles become stronger. At this point, we are dangerous, unknowing what we will do or say, not as scared as the punishment that may lay. Another chug down, as now my heart beats fast like the snatch. Hang snatches are the fastest because of the stretch reflex the athlete can use if done properly. C4 is a triple hang, snatch above the knee, fast and violent like a pirate ship set out to sea. I wonder if Schenkel is reading this blog. If so, you better put down the sweet Louisiana iced tea. Get yourself some of the skin, itching, belly warming, Red Sea flowing, water dancing, pain relieving, weightlifting Hulk juice we call the fourth element of the sea. Late at night when the orchestra is the quietest, the lion killer has been rumored to lark in the dark. It's been chattered about throughout the halls. A few of the skeletons sitting in the very back row listening to the orchestra play on an ordinary day. The lion heads have been found all throughout this old forgotten auditorium. Who beheaded them and why? I have a pretty good guess on both matters. C4 before training? The sheep asks. Yes, we reply without looking up. I don't need to make eye contact with those I don't trust. I keep to myself these days. I talk less these days. What I didn't tell these sheep is that C4 is a must on any day. Today is an off day for weightlifting, but not for life. I chug this bottle to connect with you. I chug this bottle to clear the pain in order to smile. The dancing water keeps me awake in order to live. Take it away, you take away a part of my lifestyle. Take away my lifestyle, and I don't trust myself and what kind of life choices I would make. Stay away forever, Crystal Mountains. Protect me, dancing water. There you go. Stay away from forever Crystal Mountains. So that's crystal meth, of course, and then protect me, dancing water. So I'm basically saying that I've kind of switched crystal meth to C4. Toward the end of this blog, I'm making it really clear, it's a lifestyle. And, it's funny how little things like energy drinks can keep you in check and in a line on the right path, because it's a lifestyle, right? You have your energy drinks or your coffee. You have your schedule of training. You have your food. You have to get 10,000 calories a day. You have to get your sleep. You have to make sure that your body is healthy. You got to get in the hot water. You're doing all of these things, and then day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, this is your life and this is who you are. And when you could stack years upon years upon years just doing this, you become a monster. And it's what you know. It's a lifestyle. And this is why in the blog here I say, you take this away from me. And I'm talking about energy drinks, but I'm talking about everything else. You take away the small things. I could even talk about cigarettes. You take away the cigarettes from me back then. Everything starts to change. I'm off my rocker. I'm off my path. I'm not in my lane anymore. See, for so long, everything was just the same. It was like Groundhog's Day, the movie. You just wake up and do the same thing every single day. And this is why a lot of lifters lose their mind. And if you're listening right now, sometimes a boring program of just snatch, clean, and jerk, squat every day is what you need to do. You need to stick to the lifts. You need to do the program. And if you want to do more lifts or more squats, go ahead and do that. But it should be pretty basic, because simplicity is king. We stick to the program. We stick to eating hard. We stick to getting good sleep. And we just repeat. if training's going bad, or let's say you feel like you're slipping, just stay on course. Just keep coming back for more. And I promise you, with time, everything will be okay. It's the weightlifters that panic, and always think they need to add something new. I mean, think about this. We didn't have social media back then, but what do weightlifters do now? They search the internet for golden nuggets and advice and what to do. And it's such a double-edged sword, because are you going to get good advice? Are you going to pick up some nuggets to help your weightlifting? I mean, you're listening to this podcast, so that's good. Then, I mean, yes, of course. But the part of the sword that cuts your hand is just the ongoing infatuation of looking for the answer. And the answer is just training hard and sticking to the lifts. And let me tell you something. Every single weightlifting coach out there agrees with me. The only reason why they're not saying it or they're not doing it is because it doesn't make money. See, what makes money is new, unique, different, extreme, fun, switching it up, keeping the weightlifter happy. See, what we are in these days in people pleasing, athlete pleasing. Weightlifting, I was on the phone with a few heavy hitters, by the way, big time coaches. I'm not going to name names. We're talking top of the top 5 coaches in all of the United States. I was on the phone with the last few weeks, and we've had the almost same conversation. Weightlifting coaches. I love how people don't think we talk. It's hilarious to me. Like when a lifter just jumps like 35 teams in a year. You don't think we don't talk. You don't think we're all talking to each other constantly. You don't think we see each other at every single meet 25 times a year. It's hilarious, but I digress. The point is that a lot of these coaches would just have lifters do snatch, clean, jerk, squat every day. And that's all they would do. But is that going to make money? No. There is an issue with coaches trying to please the athlete so much that they throw their coaching morals out the window. They don't stay true to themselves. And therefore, they're not true to the athlete. And then the minute the athlete's unhappy, because you've babied this athlete so much, the athlete just quits. You got to have some tough love on the athlete. And you got to say, hey, this is the process. This is the method. This is what we're doing. Proof is in the pudding. It's working. So stay the course. Right? It's fascinating to me. It's like, I'll even say it. Like, a good example would be Alex Freiberger. And I don't mean this to talk smack, but Alex Freiberger is a perfect example of this. Alex Freiberger with me was on absolute fucking fire. Everyone knows it. Everyone saw it. The numbers were through the roof. I mean, the amount of progress and the climbing and the PRs, and I mean, it was remarkable. It was a year and a half? It was just amazing. But then it gets to the point, and there was no drama, there was no nothing, zero, zip. It was all love, great relationship, no hiccups. There wasn't anything in the background that I'm not mentioning right now. And then what happens? The athlete gets high enough on the mountain, where I've talked about, where the oxygen gets low, the wind gets windy, it gets really cold. And now you got to fucking scrape for every PR. A kilo PR might take you a month, 2 months. You might not even be hitting 90% for a few weeks, maybe even a month. You might be just beat down, and you're grinding, and you're getting when you're up to 50, 85, 50, 90, it gets cold on that mountain. It gets tough on that mountain. And, what do? Instead of just saying simplicity is king, stay the course, trust the process, trust your coach, keep going. We got to look for the green grass. We got to look for what else is out there. We got to look for something maybe that's a little easier. I mean, he told me on the phone, he goes, I'm leaving you. I go, Alex. And this is one that I was actually kind of like really trying to keep. Like, come on, man. What? Like, I almost fell out of my car. I was driving when he called. I pulled over. I literally got out of my car like, dude, I'm pulled over on the highway right now, pretty much. Like, what are you talking about? You just hit this, you just hit this, you just got this squat, you just did this at nationals, you just took 10th. You're top 10 at nationals, brother. We just took 10th at nationals. Like, we're just starting to rack up these national meets. And I hate naming names. I hate telling the story, but it needs to be talked about. It's such an important story, right? Am I perfect? Am I the perfect weightlifting coach? No, there's no such thing. But boy, I gave everybody that knows me and knows Alex and knows the Attitude Nation back then and now, and I gave my heart and soul, everything I had. And it was a hard thing to hear. And I just said, why? Why? I have to, Alex, like, why? Like, I was emotional. And he just looked at me on the phone and he just said, because I'm not making enough progress. Oh, man. I mean, it was so hard to hear. Because being in the game 21 years, I've seen this story play out so many times, not even with me, but with other coaches. You know, it's an ongoing conversation we have constantly. And, you know, what Alex doesn't realize is the fact that he was dead wrong. He was making progress. He just doesn't, he's in his emotions. He's in his emotions. That's all it is. He was in his emotions. And maybe he was in his emotions for not like a day, but probably maybe for a few weeks, maybe even a month. But you got to talk it out with your coach. You got to sit down with a cup of coffee and say, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. You got to communicate. And instead, you make a drastic decision like that. And what he's not understanding is that when you get that high in the mountain, you start cracking like 50, 90, and you start hitting massive big squats, and you start taking top 10 at nationals, and you start getting up there when the oxygen gets low. You got to understand that there's going to be the 2 steps back, 4 steps forward. 1 step back, 3 steps forward. You got to grind and have grit for every kilo. Every kilo is harder and harder and harder and harder to achieve. And it takes longer and longer. And that's why you have to start to claw and climb a little higher. And it takes time. You have to be patient. You can't just make a ton of progress in a year and a half, look at your coach and say, it's not fast enough. It's slowed down the last few months. I'm not happy. No, that's not how the sport works. I'm not sitting here with all these medals behind me and these teams under me because I wanted it quicker. There was an understanding of just like I was talking about with The Shining, how Wes Kitts is like talking to himself on the stage. You become so crazy with the monotony of weightlifting where you repeat yourself day after day after day that you just don't think about it. You just go into the gym and you go. And when you have genetics like Alex Freiberger and you're genetically gifted and a very talented young man, over time you will become national champion. You'll become American Open champion. You become Arnold champion. You'll make a Pan Am team, a Pan Am Games team, a world team. And who knows, maybe even go to the Olympics if they take a full team, right? Or shoot, maybe you're the Kendrick Ferris. Maybe they only take one male and you're the guy, you know, that's really exciting. But the point is that Alex made the wrong decision. And I say that with 100% confidence. And I believe that he might know that he made the wrong decision too. I mean, proof is in the pudding. We'll put it that way. But the point is I love Alex. I love Alex Freiberger. I love him to death. I do. He broke my heart. And maybe I'm just laying all my emotions out here on the microphone right now, but so be it. I never let this fly sometimes. I keep too much stuff bottled in. And I have a mic in front of me, and sometimes I like to have some therapy with this microphone. And he hurt me. It hurt really bad because we had such a tight relationship. He was making so much progress. We were doing so much good damage. And then boom, just because it wasn't fast enough, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't just, you know, whipped cream on the hot fudge sundae every day, we got to jump and see you later. You know, it's just there's so much, there's a lack of loyalty in the sport of weightlifting. And it's just really tough. It's tough. I look back in the day, I was like, man, we were just do or die. You know, I came up with Coach Jackie Ma. It was fire. And I wasn't going to leave Coach Jackie Ma for nothing. We had years and years with each other, crushing it, just taking over the game. And then, you know, things happen with me and her with nothing personal. It's just I couldn't train at the gym anymore because of the fight that I got into. And I kind of became a quote unquote free agent. It was a tough situation. And Jackie Ma supported my tryouts at Cal Strength and was there with me the entire time, emotionally, not physically, but emotionally. And then boom, from that point on, it was this ride or die with Glenn and Dave Spitz. And, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I could teach young rookies how to learn from my mistakes. I was on the phone the other day with Dave, and I've said this many times. I've said this many times to Dave in person and on the phone. And we were in a conversation the other day, and something got brought up where I just said, Dave, I'm almost 40 years old. When I lay in bed at night, I just want you to know that, looking back, I wouldn't have left Cal Strength. I should have stayed. I should have went to Muscle Driver. And I apologize. And I understand that hindsight's 2020. And it's tough to say because Muscle Driver was, for the most part, really awesome. And we conceived, our Lincoln and North Carolina, and I've met so many great people, and Travis Mash, and I could go on and on and on. So it's been a great journey. So it's like, I'm not trying to erase that, but really, if I had to go back, I wouldn't have left. And I feel bad about leaving. I really do. And I'm able to, kind of any chance I get with Dave, I just want him to know that I care and that I love Dave Spitz. And I want him to know that I truly value everything he did for me and Jessica, my wife, and how much we just really appreciate what Coach Dave Spitz has done for us on and off the platform. And I wish I could say that to Glenn again. And of course I had many, many, many times before he passed away. And it was the last thing I told him, probably 15 minutes before he passed away. He told me he just got off the phone with Donnie. I think I was the last person he spoke to besides his parents in the room on the phone. The doctor had him get off. And I just told him I loved him and thanked him for everything he's done for me. And that I'm going to keep the Penley method going. And, now I've just lost my train of thought of where I'm at right now, but, it's just the loyalty, man. It's, I had loyalty to Jackie Ma, loyalty to Coach Penley and Dave Spitz. Again, I should have stayed with Dave, but you got to go where Coach goes. And that was a tough situation. But we put years and years and years, we put decades in, and we were ride or die, man, through the thick or thin, through the tough times, through the hard training, when the numbers were down, when we haven't PR'd in months, when life was tough, we stayed the grind. We stayed with Glenn and Dave. We kept pushing. There was never a thought of leaving. And it just seems nowadays everyone's out for clicks and Instagram and clout and who could get me there the easiest and the fastest and what can I do for myself so I can make money and get sponsored. And it's so backwards now. Rather than just some hard-hitting weightlifters that are loyal to the game. It's like 90s rap versus now rap. A lot has changed, but it's okay. But I go all the way, rewind, all the way back to the point of my rant here over the past 10 minutes. And that is basically simplicity is king. It's snatch, clean, and jerk, squat every single day to max effort. What can you do? Anything outside of that is athlete pleasing. Anything outside of that is athlete pleasing. And let me tell you something. Athletes will run your ass over if you have that mindset. And maybe I've been a victim to that. Maybe I have done a bad job of trying to athlete please too much in the past. Heavy hitters, like talented blue chip recruits, I would say, like blue chip young weightlifters that have an Olympic chance, like an Alex Freiberger. I was almost too nice to. I babied. I showed too much outward love. I didn't come across strong enough. I didn't. It's almost in a sense I wasn't hard enough because I was trying to please the athlete. Make sure the athlete was good and felt nice and was comfortable and, all of these things. Like, are you happy? What can I do for you? It's like you almost lay out the red carpet too much. rather than being like, dude, let's fucking go. Come on. Who cares the person walked in front of you 20 feet? Like, nut up, let's fucking go. And if not, then get out of the gym, reassess, and come back. I mean, that's tough love. You know? I mean, Glenn and Dave used to say they were really hard on us back in the day. Like, really, really hard. And we took it. And we kept going, and we came back for more every single day. There was no babying, and there was no thought of jumping teams. There's no thought of anything like this. It was just, we got one option, and that's go to the Olympics. Let's go. Let's do anything we can. And if we need some gut checking, we need some gut checking. We didn't come in late for training. We didn't skip squats. We didn't skip any lifts. The only time we skipped some training and had some fun is Krushka. And that's when coach is on a trip, or Dave's gone on a trip, and the gym's just ours, and we fool around all day, and we don't really train that hard. And we go sit in the hot tub, and we have a beer, we smoke a pack of cigarettes, and we just kind of goof around. That's what you call by a Krushka. Any top weightlifter knows that life, knows what that is, and has done that. And if they say they don't, they're lying. And I'm man enough to tell you, and I can give you every motivational speech under the sun about training hard. We sometimes did that. And it was fun. And it was great team bonding. And when coach came back, we'd laugh and be silly. And he'd just look at us and roll his eyes and go, you guys probably didn't do the program. And we go, whoa, we kind of did. And then we would giggle like little kids. Because what we were really doing is playing the floor as lava. But again, we were like Annie. We were those kids in Annie. It's a hard knock life. So when coach is gone, we're playing, the ground is lava for 4 hours. Just a bunch of half-naked boys in the Cal Strength gym playing floor is lava. I mean, if that's not a part of becoming a champion, I think that's a great thing. Team bonding. I don't even know if anybody's listening to this anymore. I don't have the YouTube up. I have zero idea if I'm even live right now. As far as I know, I've just been talking into an empty mic for an hour and a half. I always try to keep the podcast at 30 minutes, but that never works. But simplicity's king. Even if nobody's listening, it's fine. This is more of just for me anyways. It feels so good to be able to sit here and just kind of express myself and just to be honest with weightlifters. There's such a lack of honesty in weightlifting these days. It's all bullshit. It's all just clicks and this and all these little secrets in the green grass and how to get there and make it easy. And nobody wants to talk about just what it takes to get through the really, really hard times. Like the suck of weightlifting, the monotony, the darkness, when the oxygen gets low on the mountain, like when you're sleeping in the tent on base camp and it's windy and you're freezing cold and you have just some nasty ass soup that's probably half molded. I mean, it's the grit Donnie Schenkel said the secret to be a champion weightlifting is to be a rugged individualism. You heard it from the GOAT of American weightlifting, Kendrick Ferris, Donnie Schenkel. Those are the two greatest American weightlifters to ever live. Shane Hammond, Tommy Kono. You got some new cats in there like Wes Kitts, 2-time Olympian. I would put him in the top 5 GOAT list. But when one of the GOATs, the top 5 GOAT of American weightlifting, tells you the secret of weightlifting, you should listen. And that's it. And it's truly just simplicity is king. What does a coach do? What does a coach do? I can make a very big statement that I overcoach. I'm on Facebook. I'm breaking down on the screenshots. I'm on Zoom. I'm coaching technique. I'm riling everybody up. Do I really need to do that? I mean, I think yes, to a certain extent, because a lot of people I coach too aren't 22-year-old freaks that have a chance to go to the Olympics that are just training all day. Like, I understand that a lot of people on my team and a lot of people I coach in weightlifting are, not a blue chip 21-year-old recruit. Like, they're family people and career people, and they just do it, for fun and want to see how high they can climb. And yes, they need to be coached. But at the end of the day, I look back at my coaching and I sit there and I think, what did Coach Penley do? What did he do? It's such an interesting thing. You look back and he sat in a chair and he stared at us all day. Like, I look back sometimes, I think, what was the coaching? Like, he never coached us, ever. Because he understood that simplicity is king. He understood that atmosphere was everything. And if you can create the mindset to get all the noise out of your head. Act like Coach Penlay sit in front of you in a chair. He's not going to please you. He's not going to say something to make you feel good. He's not going to give you a program that's going to make you feel warm and fluffy. He's just going to be honest. He's going to stare at you. He's going to tell you, he's going to ask you why you missed. He's going to tell you to do it again. He's going to have you do it until you either can't do it or you make it, and then he's going to tell you to move on. Then he's going to get done through the whole workout. He's going to get up, and then he's going to say, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And he's going to do that for 7 years. It's just interesting when you're in this boom. Like, I'm a boom boy talking to you right now. But then you look on the stuff that's out there right now, and it's all bullshit. It's all just a bunch of trash, man. Train hard. Don't have soft hands. Dive into the sport. Go all in. Push your chips in. Believe. Be loyal. Embrace the suck. And you can be champion. That's the C4 blog. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Have a great, great day.